Hello there, YouTube. I am Necrostevo, and welcome back to week number 3 here in the Pokemon Premier League, Season 2, Champions Edition. Our opponent this week is just Matt. It's just Matt. His team, the Las Vegas Frights, consists of his options to choose between Mega Charizard Y, Aerodactyl, Milotic, Raichu, Klefki, Trevenant with the mascot pick, Rhyperior, Mega Kangaskhan, and Venusaur is what I would normally say. That's what I would normally say. Everyone, I'm going to tell you right now, I prepped for the wrong team. I'm going to tell you right now, he does not have a Venusaur. Instead of a Venusaur, he has Paldean, Tauros, Blaze, Victreebel, and Malamar. But for the prep, I did not know that. So look, things happen, okay? What we're going to do right now, I'm just going to crack open a cold one with the boys. It is very warm out where I live, but fortunately the sun's going down, and we're going to look past these mistakes and transgressions. Grab yourself some snacks, and let's get into this brief team builder before we do this battle video. Ooh, guava pineapple. This smells delicious. 17% fruit puree. 6% alcohol. Okay. Man, yeah, I am down for it. Oh, man. Fruit may settle. Gently flip, then sip. That's what I do to the ladies. Hey. Alright, let's get back to the battle. What? Quick team builder against just Matt. First off, this is a new challenger. We have not ever battled against him, and he does upload, so make sure you go check out his information in the description. For what we brought against just Matt, we have a very weird Incineroar. I was worried about giving Milotic competitive boosts, and also something like the Kangaskhan, if it's scrappy, it's not affected by the Intimidate anyway. So I have a bulk up Incineroar with Blaze. After that, we had our Choice Scarf Basculegion with enough speed to outrun Aerodactyl. And then we also had our very, very offensive Glimmora. Here, just ideally throwing off Sludge Bomb and Power Gem. I did put Energy Ball on just in case Rhyperior came to a battle. We also had Ninetales with Never Melt Ice, running Freeze Dry, Moonblast, Protect, and Aurora Veil. And then finally we had our Torterra for the wide guard support. And so that is the team that we have for this week up against Matt. So let's get into the battle and see how the prep went against the wrong team. Always fun, that one is. Okay, so let us get into the battle here. You can see that we are actually in a battle room with Amber, Ellie, myself, and Matt. And that's because we actually played this battle live on screen, which was very, very fun. So be sure to check out those streams live we normally do those on Sundays. I will be tweeting out the videos when we do those. I even got to commentate one last season alongside Kiswan, so very, very fun. I deeply enjoy doing the narrations with those and the live reactions to the crazy tech. But anyways, speaking of live reactions to crazy tech, it is this point when I realized, why is there a Malamar there? Why is there no Venusaur here? There are multiple things running through my mind. You just have to kind of pivot when you have those things happen, especially during battle, right? So in this situation, Malamar is here, which I quickly deduce means that there are probably Pokemon on his side of the field that can lower stats. So I was expecting maybe when I saw the Malamar, I was like, okay, is he going to have Bulldoze? Is he going to have Charm somewhere? Maybe Fake Tears, Klefki? I wasn't mentally ready for that. And of course, if I had seen Malamar, Failings would have been coming to the match because that would help punish any sort of stat lowering type moves. The leads that I end up going with though are Incineroar for the fake out pressure alongside Glimmora with Ninetales and Basculegion in the back. I did this in order to have very early offensive pressure. This also will allow me to punish if we don't see Kangaskhan on the lead. I know it's very likely, but I wanted to just basically tech for it. The other nice thing that we have here is that if the Kangaskhan wants to fake out my Glamora, my Incineroar can fake out the Malamar, and we can stop him from doing something on turn 1, basically. But Incineroar here is very specially bulky, and so that's not as great into the Malamar and the Kangaskhan with their using those physically offensive moves. I do have the Chople Berry, which will help out incidentally against the Malamar going for superpower if it wants to get an increased attack and defense boost. Fortunately, this isn't Mega Malamar, so that is one less thing to worry about. I really wanted to go for a bulk up on the first turn, because I was like, he's probably just going to fake out my Glamora, which I do get right, and I just decided to try to grab that bulk up. He goes for superpower immediately, and I was actually quite impressed with how much damage this did, because this is a max HP Incineroar. Even though I don't have that much defensive input here, that almost did half my health. We do get the bulk up, so now we at least match the Malamar in the attack and the defense. But without my Chople Berry, if the Kangaskhan decides to double the slot, we might be in a little bit of trouble here. On the other side though, my Glamora does outspeed here. We will show him our speed and be the fastest thing here. But there is also a chance that I just don't KO the Kangaskhan. Mega Kangaskhan is quite bulky. It is very, very annoyingly bulky, I would say. So if I don't KO the Mega Kangaskhan, then I could lose my Mega immediately. So expecting maybe a surprise ground type move in here, or maybe a psychic move coming out from the Malamar, I switch out to Basculegion and we do see the Bulldoze, which is highly unfortunate because that is very likely going to put my Incineroar in range of superpower. No, that is enough to take down my Incineroar. So I bulked up and then I did nothing. I could have even thrown off a move on that first turn, and I even had the Drain Punch. Now fortunately, we did get our Basculegion in pretty freely here. We are going to go out into our Ninetales at this point because I believe that I can get up an Aurora Veil, or here I really just need to go ahead and threaten this Malamar with damage immediately before it starts snowballing. I don't know if he has a way to recover its health or not, but I don't want it to get multiple boosts. Right now it's already at +1 speed, attack, and defense. So it's kind of like it went for victory dance in a way. We see the Klefki come in and Malamar protects, and I was like, that's fine by me because I spread my damage out here. I tried to hit the Malamar with Moonblast just because the defense is already boosted, and I just wanted damage on the Kangaskhan. I know I'm going to take a bunch of recoil, but I needed the damage. We do get the reveal of the leftovers on the Malamar, which is really good to know, and because he has not boosted his special defense, I was like, I think he might be setting up screens with the Klefki. He also could very easily go for Foul Play into my Basculegion or Thunder Wave here. There are just a lot of options and I need to gather information very, very quickly. Now you see me waffling just a little bit on the move choices there, but I'm Scarf, so really the question is, do I just attack the Klefki or do I swap out? Here I do decide that I am going to go through with just trying to do damage to the Malamar and then attack that Klefki. Unfortunately, I ran out of time. The time makes fools of us all. I do get the Moonblast off, but the fake Tears boost means that the Malamar does not go down here. Klefki increase Malamar's stuff there, and it doesn't end up mattering that I didn't get the move off. Because of the Bulldoze, my speed was lower and the Malamar's speed was boosted, and so he was faster anyway. As I mentioned before, I think I just took MP damage at the beginning of the battle, seeing the Malamar so unexpectedly. I had to go check it. I was like, is it Mega Malamar? I don't even know. Here we are going to go out into Glamora because that's our only option, and I'm going to try to power gen the Klefki. I think I can potentially KO it from this range. If it's especially defensive Klefki, then no, I won't KO it. If it is just like generally bulky, physically defensive, I can absolutely KO it from here. So thinking that he might want to go for Protect again, I end up targeting down the Klefki and then trying to set up an Aurora Veil is what I wanted to do here. I do end up getting paralyzed by the Klefki, but this is great because that means that there's no damage reduction on his side of the field. And I was really worried about the Malamar just like being untouchable. But now we're in a great position because I will be able to mitigate whatever damage the Kangaskhan wants to go for. I should even be able to live a Bulldoze with the Aurora Veil up just because it's a weaker spread damage type move. So we are not out of game 1 just yet, just hang in here with me. We see our opponent go out into their Mega Kangaskhan, and that means that Fake Out is now live on their side of the field. Since we know that they have that option, we're going to just try to protect and also swing hopefully into both slots here. Sludge Wave will hit everyone on the field, including my own Alola Ninetales. But as long as I don't get paralyzed, I can throw off this protect and at least try here, is my thinking. It's very likely that my opponent is just going to try to fake out my Glimmora and then go for the attack. But if he doesn't, then I can at least get some damage off. And we do see that Ninetales gets hit by that fake out, so the protect blocks the fake out and the Sludge Wave, and we're able to do critical damage to the Kangaskhan. And we also find out that Malamar has Poison Jab, which I was very surprised to see, so he has basically perfect coverage for my entire team. Now that we know that his protect is going to likely be coming out here, we are just going to split up the attacks again. I'm expecting a protect from the Malamar, and even if it goes for the offensive Poison Jab, it's only boosted by +1 in its attack, and I have my Aurora Veil active. And so I do go for the Power Gem into the Mega Kangaskhan slot, doing great damage to the Milotic. And we see Poison Jab, but with the Snow Boost and the Aurora Veil, we are able to live that and go for Moonblast and revenge this Malamar. And that was really a turning point in the battle, because now that means that all that is left is the Kangaskhan and the Milotic. And while he does get the fake out pressure coming back in, what he does not have here is a lot of pressure from the Milotic. Because the Aurora Veil is up, I'm not as worried about the Milotic here, if I'm completely honest. And I also know that I can go for my normal Protect and Sludge Wave play here. I have showed that before, so we're actually going to swap it up, and we are going to Spiky Shield, because he knows that, oh, he's most likely going to protect the Ninetales. So we're just going to swap up the expectations here and try to Spiky Shield on our Glimmora and go for the Freeze Dry on the Milotic. With Never Melt Ice, Milotic needs to be especially bulky in order to get through this turn. And unfortunately for me, I get the call wrong. The fake out goes into the Ninetales, but I do somehow manage to take the subsequent Icy Wind. I really should have just attacked there, but that's okay, because now we get the Protect with the Ninetales play if we want to, and again, go for the Sludge Wave. It is possible for him to just read this and try to double up in two things, or he could just go for Bulldoze and maybe Scald here. But with, I believe, one final turn of Aurora Veil up, I should even be able to live the spread move into the Scald, because it's more likely that the Milotic has a bulkier type of investment here. We see the Milotic protect, and we see the Ninetales protect, and this is why Sludge Wave is really powerful, because it can help me in these situations where I'm not sure who's going to protect. And based off of the damage that we saw this do earlier, we know that Kangaskhan is going down right here. So Kangaskhan is KO'd by the Sludge Wave, the Aurora Veils goes down, and now it is a 2-on-1 versus the Milotic. So even though we weren't planning for the Malamar, and I kind of floundered in battle ahead of it by just throwing Basque Legion out there, we ended up kind of bringing that back a little bit here. So now we just have to target down the Milotic, and it should not be able to KO Glimmora in one hit. Even with a crit, I don't think that would be enough damage here. So Power Gem does a good, solid amount of damage there. I could have just gone for the Sludge Wave. That may have guaranteed the KO. But in the event that he did not target the Ninetales, I didn't want to KO my own Ninetales, because then I could get 2 hits off here. And so Ninetales actually ends up picking up the final KO in Battle 1. And so that means we are up 1-0 against just Matt here on week number 3. Some immediate adjustments I would like to make. Number 1, I would love to go back in time and expect things like Bulldoze and Icy Wind coming into my team. Because again, Phalanx, it's just sitting right there. I almost brought it to the battle. This Pineapple Guava does not change the fact that I screwed up the team prep and did not prep against the right thing. But that's okay. We're going to drink to that. Man, that was a frothy pool right there. Wait, hold on. I gotta phrase that better. That was a good beer, darn it. All right, game number 2. What worked out well in game 1 was the Incineroar, but I let it take too much damage. So while I do still like having it in the battle, number 1, I think I need to take advantage of the fake out more. And number 2, I need to take advantage of just going for damage more. In game number 1, I went for bulk up with it, and I don't really know if that's the play right away. That being said, if I get a bulk up with this Incineroar, I can even live like a drain punch into a double edge, for example, or something weird coming out from his side, just because of the defensive investment alongside of the HP that I have. And that's even if both of those are like parental bond. So that's why I was so keen to get the bulk up, but I didn't really account for the Malamar. But that's okay. Now, if he wants to try that again, we're going to go with the same 4 because they worked, but we're going to put them in a different order. I believe that having Basket Legion in the lead will allow me to exert a lot of immediate pressure against his team. The other thing that's nice about Basket Legion in the lead is that I can just flip turn out of here. We do see Aerodactyl leading from his side alongside the Mega Kangaskhan. And honestly, I really still like bulk up here on the opening turn. Now, my MP was lowered from the first battle and just like the circumstances around it. And so I end up going for fake out. And honestly, I really think I should have just gone straight for the bulk up. So I try to target down the Aerodactyl here, expecting him to try to set Tailwind, Mega Evolve, and then just go for an attack, is what I was expecting. And spoilers, I get that completely wrong. He just protects and blocks both of my moves. And that just sucks, I have to say. There's something unique to doubles when you get read that hard, and it might not have even been a read, it might have just been him playing safe. But to get absolutely nothing out of the turn, when once again I could have just clicked the bulk up and gotten something out of the turn, is really annoying, because we still have to contend with this freaking bulldoze situation. And if I had just flip turned into the Kangaskhan even, I could have gone out into something else. And even then, the bulk up would have at least got, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which way you're smelling the rock, the way it's cooking and stuff. When we are in this situation, both of our Pokemon have minus speed. I know that he can probably dual KO me here. I can at least live a Sucker Punch, barely, but that is why I put a fair amount of bulk on the Basket Legion. But yeah, I'm taking that out of the recording. Let me write down that timestamp. But we get exploded because of the Rock Slide from the Aerodactyl around the 15-minute mark. I need to mute things and cut it out. So that sucks. So basically, Basket Legion did nothing. I really felt like I misplayed Basket Legion in Game 1 and Game 2 here. Man, I made a mistake drinking so much of that beer, I have to say. It's becoming an issue. I don't know why I did that. Yeah. However, we need to get back into this match. So the way to do that, we have a couple of ways of doing so. Number 1, Drain Punch did a good amount of damage to the Kangaskhan. I need to get back up my Aurora Veil. We need the damage mitigation now, because we know that we could possibly outlast him in the end game. That's how we were able to make things work last battle. Now we get a cheeky double miss on the Rock Slide, and I am so sick of getting flinched and crit by Rock Slide, so I didn't feel bad at all about seeing that. But you see the Body Slam come out, and after the second hit, it paralyzes. It has a good shot at it, but now we have to deal with annoying Paraflinch and stuff. But at least we get the Aurora Veil up, so that's great. Now, if I had clicked Bulk Up earlier, we would have KO'd the Kangaskhan here. So that's the other reason I was annoyed at this point in the battle. However, Kangaskhan is at critical HP, which is very, very nice. And we have a decision to make. Even though I am paralyzed and I'm slower here, I should be able to live anything that he wants to go for. I think it's very likely that we're just going to see another Rock Slide come out, because at least then it's going to swing the flinch chances. And there's just something about people clicking Rock Slide on me. It's like anyone else, right? It's going to work eventually. But here, since the Kangaskhan is so whittled down, I thought that it might swap out. But we see another rock slide that this time it critical hits right through the Aurora Veil and the Snowstorm. Defensive boost and KOs me immediately. And then I get hit by a body slam that KOs my Incineroar immediately. So functionally, this battle is over. I do think that if I had Glimmora and Ninetales like I had in the first battle, I maybe could have pulled something out because Ninetales got paralyzed in the first battle too. Granted, it didn't take quite so much damage like I had taken there from the body slam. I do think I could have pulled something out or at least changed the differential, right? Here, with 4-on-1, my Glimmora has just too much heavy lifting to do. So now let's try to get some more information, and I am dismayed to see that the information that I gather is Psychic Fangs that tears right through my Aurora Veil. And so I no longer have a way to mitigate the damage. We are just going to go for the Sludge Wave there because I was trying to hit the Kangaskhan and the Aerodactyl. And with Klefki at this high of health, there's not going to be a lot that I can do to it. I'm expecting that it's just going to Thunder Wave me, and I don't even live the subsequent Psychic Fangs anyway. So we lose battle number 2. 4-0. Good freaking gravy. Now I do think that I could have lowered the differential if I didn't get critical hit by the Rock Slide. But after, I think I would have still lost Incineroar that turn, and then my Ninetales would have been at what, half health? So it's kind of neither here nor there. And I really give kudos to Matt for the adjustments in the second game, because the positioning from him was just really strong, and he's also invalidated my Basculegion twice. And Basculegion is just such a good Pokemon, and I'm not really having it do anything in these battles, right? Like it's done a bunch of damage. It KO'd a Klefki, and it did some damage, but like it's just not really doing a lot there. So we need to make a big switch, big changes here in game number 3. We know that Glimmora is very effective, expecting him to once again probably bring the Mega Kangaskhan. So what do I do against that? In hindsight, I probably should have tried the Torterra, because we saw Milotic, we saw spread moves, we've seen the Rock Slide from the Aerodactyl, so Wide Guard could have been very useful. But I end up trying to get a better speed advantage by utilizing my own Tailwind with my Noivern. I was thinking, okay, if I can flinch and maybe fake out and maybe go for a taunt, that could be one way that I could shut down the Klefki on lead. Or I could also flinch the Aerodactyl and then taunt it. There are just a couple different things I can do there. What I think I ended up bringing here was the Basculegion alongside the Noivern, so I could flip turnout with the Ninetales and the Glimmora in the back, I believe is what I ended on. And I really do think I should have tried the Torterra here in game 3, and you'll see why. But more importantly, this is our opportunity here to go positive, not only in the matchup, but also for the season. So I was really locked in at this point. I had recovered some MP, and then we see the Milotic on the lead, and I was like, no, that is not who I wanted to see on the lead. We're going to try to flip turn out of here. And I was like, if this Milotic just uses Icy Wind, I can't really do anything about it. I could try to flinch it, that could be annoying, but also if the Kangaskhan just goes for Fake Out, I can't really stop it. It could easily just Fake Out and Icy Wind my Noivern, and there's not really much that I can do about it. So what we are going to try to do here is to see if we can make it through the turn. I think if I can make it through the turn with both things alive in some capacity, we can cook here a little bit. So we do see the Fake Out into the Noivern, does a lot of damage, does over a quarter. I do get the flip turn off, and I was like, this is great, because if the Milotic is going to be going for an Icy Wind, maybe I should have just stayed in there and gone for Wave Crash, but it won't do very much damage at all to Ninetales. We are hoping, and we unfortunately do get hit by the Icy Wind, but Noivern, with just natural bulk, this was just a max speed, max special attack Noivern, and I managed to take the Icy Wind. But now we're in a bit of a position because there's no way that Noivern is going to make it out of this turn. So we need to reposition, because Noivern being faster than both of these Pokemon naturally will be very useful. I do foresee maybe the normal type move trying to come out to finish off the Noivern, or we might see another Icy Wind, but since my speed is already lowered, I think it's less probable that we'll see the other Icy Wind. And so I want the damage mitigation of the Aurora Veil because we do not see the Aerodactyl here, and that means we don't have to worry about the Psychic Fangs. So I go back out into the Basket Legion. We see the Body Slam, but I get the call wrong because it goes into the freaking Ninetales. He gets the critical hit and the paralysis. And then to follow that up, he goes for another Icy Wind. So I was just like, I got that as wrong as possible. And his targeting there was really, really good. I do get something out of the turn with the Aurora Veil, but if I had swapped out the Ninetales instead, I possibly might have left Noivern to get KO'd, but I would have at least had no damage on the Ninetales and no paralyzed Ninetales. Even with this defensive boost up, I don't know if I can take that many hits here. That positioning there, I think it was a little bit of a 50-50, but that went as poorly as I could have predicted, I think. Since Basket Legion came in and is basically unscathed, I can just go for the offensive move once again. We know that I lived the Sucker Punch because we saw it hit before without the Aurora Veil, so we know we're good there. Skull comes out and it does finish off my Ninetales. If this was an uninvested Milotic, I could have had a chance to live that without the previous crit, but at least we are able to take out the Kangaskhan, which is really, really nice here. So not only does that eliminate some of his priority, but that also means that we have eliminated the Sucker Punch, which is critical to my Noivern, which is going to come back out right now. And from what we've seen him use before, the only thing that outspeeds us is the Aerodactyl, which is exactly what he swaps in. So I was annoyed there. I was really hoping that he would switch it up there, but he's basically adapted to my style. He's reading me. He must have my numbers on his scouter. Ugh. Or something. I don't know. I felt like I was getting really red here in the third book. And I don't know why I said the third book. Into the third battle. We do see the Psychic Fangs because of the previous speed drop from the Icy Wind. I don't really have anything to swap in there. I could have swapped in the Glimora, and then it would have taken over half of his HP. I did do a good amount of damage with the Super Fang, but it really just isn't enough there. Maybe the move was to go for the Air Slash and hope for the flinch. That might have been a stronger move. My thinking in going for the Super Fang was to put him in range of a Sludge Wave, but since he has the Citrus Berry, it would not have been enough damage anyway. Now here I was like, okay, let me go for the Spiky Shield, and then this will enable me to break a potential sash on the Aerodactyl. But my opponent just goes for Tailwind, which is like nail in the coffin. I could have just thrown off a Sludge Wave there and, you know, done some damage. I would have lived a Scald easily. And, you know, there just would have been other factors that we could work with. But with the Tailwind up, now that my Milotic is even going to outspeed my Glimora. And that sucks. So that is going to be our loss here in week number 3 of the PPL. And I felt like I make a lot of good adjustments on the fly. Like in game 1, I was just flying by the seat of someone else's pants because I didn't plan for those pants. So it's like I was wearing shorts, come to find out that I needed to wear pants.
You can wear them if you're big, you can wear them if you're small, they're pants if you're short, and shorts if you're tall.
But I was able to make adjustments and get back into it. But then after that, our opponent was just able to really get a read on how we wanted to play our Mons, and that was my undoing. Because I think if I had at least brought the Torterra, I could have threatened the wide guard into things. And of course, Torterra is a strong pick against the Milotic anyway. So one adjustment that I definitely would have made there going back is to try the Torterra over the Noivern. Maybe would have had a different outcome, or at least a different differential. Just Matt, I would like to thank you for the battle this week. I hope that you and I will meet again on the battlefield, for only then can I exact my vengeance, and then maybe I'll have another drink at that point. In the meantime, make sure that you all go check out his channel. And on our side, we get to actually fight against K-Swan again. And so we must bring vengeance. And I will be checking the team to make sure that I don't prep for the wrong team. Thank you. Shout out to the Don Fanatic for mentioning And also to K-Swan for saying, hey Necro, don't prep against the wrong thing. I drafted different mons. I don't know how I make these mistakes. I checked the sheet. I'm just saying, I look at it, I check it, I look at it with my eyeballs, and I interpret the colors and the symbols on the sheet to show me what Pokemon are there, and sometimes I check it too early and then it changes later. Just saying. Everyone check your matchups before you do them. I have with me here today some packaging from D-Brand. I ended up buying one of their cases for my Switch 2, and it came packaged with something that has a ton of words on it. And this is like a weird stream of conscience, and so I'm just going to read from it and share. I'm just going to start at the top of the package. Reading D-Brand's fine print is kind of like joining a secret club, one that entitles you to learn all the most legally questionable aspects of our business. Creative accounting tricks, plans to destroy the sun, horrific industrial accidents that have claimed the lives of countless scientists. It's all in here. This fine print sheds light on the things that probably should have stayed in the dark. On that note, remember how we called it a secret club? Well, it's your responsibility to make sure it stays that way. If you fail to do so, just remember, we know where you live. Matte black everything. Depending on who you ask, that can mean a few different things. For some, it expresses a preference that all consumer goods should offer a matte black colorway. For us, it means we won't rest until the entire world is coated in matte black. How do we accomplish this? Simple. We destroy the sun. For the past 5 years, all of our money, or rather, your money, has funded the production of a cartoonishly large laser beam. We'll cut to the chase. Star-destroying lasers aren't cheap, and neither are our products. You can blame the sun for that. Our accounting robots just sent out an internal email. The message was clear. We've officially made too much money. As a result of this sudden windfall, our corporate bank accounts have been frozen. Turns out, bribing the bank to unfreeze your assets is a lot easier when your assets aren't frozen. Lucky for us, kidnapping the CEO's son is free. With our exorbitant profits safely returned and a newfound distrust for financial institutions, we turn to the time-honored storage solution of simply stashing cash under the mattress. Here's the deal. We need to buy 100,000 mattresses. Your order is bankrolling that purchase. Here's hoping that Casper ships in bulk. Pastel skin development was a bit of a bumpy road. It began with us rounding up hundreds of test subjects and strapping them into chairs. Then, we blasted about 16 million different colors directly into their eyeballs over the course of 30 days? To be honest, we weren't really keeping track. Afterwards, as the lights came back up, we asked them to list their favorites. Their response, sadly, was not the perfectly recited list of CMYK values we had hoped for. Instead, a few of them said something about violating the Geneva Convention. We gently reminded them that they were a focus group, not prisoners of war. That seemed to shut them up. The remaining 99% of test subjects seemed completely incapable of speech for some reason. In the end, we got little usable data from this exercise. Instead, we picked 8 colors at random. Don't let our test subjects' sacrifice be in vain. The bees are dying. It starts with their exposure to pesticides. Over time, an acute poisoning sets in. Immune system ravaged. Their cognitive abilities fade to nothingness, and death ensues. They're dropping like flies out there. Soon we'll be saying they're dropping like bees out there. As a hive workers' bees population gets decimated, the queen runs out of servants. Much like yourself, the queen can't do anything on her own. She dies too. The hive follows suit. This is a phenomenon known as the colony collapse disorder. and is contributing to the bee shortage all over the globe. You may be wondering, what does any of this have to do with our products? Absolutely nothing. Don't let that stop you from buying some. Where were you when D-Brand succeeded in their planetary conquests? Don't answer that. We all know where you were. You were buying stuff on our website. Well, we've got good news. Once we've assumed control, we'll be instating a representative for the human race, mostly as a figurehead, so that you'll all keep giving us your money. How will we select this representative? First, we will stage a cruel, bizarre decathlon. Events will include running an obstacle course constructed entirely of flamethrowers and holding your breath while submerged in a tub of hot sauce. The winner of the decathlon will get absolutely nothing. We'll just stage it for kicks. Then we'll select a representative for all humankind based off of how many D-Brand orders they've placed. We were halfway through building a fort out of your money when we realized we need a fireplace that we can use to burn money for warmth. There's just one problem. If we use cash to build the fireplace, we have less to burn. You see the issue, yes? Excellent. That's why we're having a sale. Did you know that was the origin of the term fire sale? To describe a promotion that will generate revenue to use as kindling. Look it up in a book. Then give the book to us. We won't burn the book. We're not monsters. We'll just pawn the book off and burn the sweet, flammable proceeds. Once we've completed our money fireplace, we'll need to hang something over the mantelpiece. We were thinking of hiring an interior designer for that. Have you ever hired an interior designer? Of course not. Anyways, their rates are ridiculous. We get a lot of questions about where our money comes from. To be fair, most of it comes from the IRS. It's apparently a red flag that phone case manufacturer has accumulated enough wealth to construct an island fortress in shark-infested waters. We tried explaining that the sharks came with the property. They didn't care. Anyways, we extended an invitation to their auditors to come and meet the sharks for themselves. Upon arrival, we gave them a carefully guided tour through our compound. We fed them a lunch that contained absolutely no arsenic. Then we brought them down to the pier to observe the sharks from a safe distance. You're probably wondering, why didn't we give the sharks an auditor-flavored lunch? Simple. Since Apple decided to enter Since their safe return to Washington, the IRS is now turning a blind eye to our enterprises. While the auditors may be off our backs, those sharks aren't going to feed themselves. Maybe we'll bring some Supreme Court down for a visit. In 2020, Apple decided to enter the magnet game. This was a mistake for everyone. You see, our magnet division had been preparing for this inevitability. Shortly after Tim got off stage, our top magnet scientist unveiled what can only be described as the most powerful magnet on Earth. Once removed from containment, the magnet barreled into the nearest robot with so much force the entire population of French Polynesia heard the impact. Naturally, a single robot was not enough to stop the magnetic rampage. To make a long story short, a gigantic ball of assorted metals has been wreaking havoc along the Guatemalan coast for the past few years. Needless to say, we went with a slightly less powerful magnet for the grip case. I'm going to leave it off there, but I think that might be 10% of this packaging. I don't know if I'll have a way to add a photo of this at some point. But yeah, I'm just going to continue to read bits of this here and there because it's unhinged and it's funny. If you hung out for this, thank you. I don't know why you're as interested in it as me, but maybe you just wanted to hear my voice some more, and I understand that. I hope you have a wonderful night. Thanks for hanging out as we read the back of the D-Brand package. That was 10% of this packaging. I cannot express enough that now technically you're all members of the secret club. Please don't tell D-Brand that I read that, as we might get exploded by a giant laser or something. I don't know. But I'm totally on board with destroying the sun. that would mean more darkness, everything in shadow. And then I could finally sleep at night.